Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Lately we're talking a lot about Kriyas HaTorah, who is suitable to become a Baal Korah, to be a Baal Korah, how one prepares before he lanes, etc. This time of the year we have a lot of Kriyas HaTorah, a lot of important ones. We have the Dalet Parshiyos, Parsha Zocher, which is L'Rova pesukim min HaTorah, and then we have Kriyas and Megillah, and then we move on to the Yom Tov Pesach, where there's a lot of Kriyas HaTorah. We find something very unique. You find that there are people who, on a regular minyan, you might not find them. You might not find them. They don't put the extra effort to come to a Mincha Ma'ariv or even a Shachris. But if it's Monday and Thursday, and it's Kriyas HaTorah, they'll show up for Kriyas HaTorah. Where is that from? Why is there this urgency or this taiva, if I may say, or the zehirus, to make sure to be by Kriyas HaTorah? So one of the Rishonim writes that if you calculate how many times you have Kriyas HaTorah during the year, you'll come up to the number of Reish Mem Ches. There are 248 times that there is Kriyas HaTorah during the year in Shabbos. And in many Svarim, they go through exactly how you come up to 248. What's special about Ramach, Reish Mem Ches? It's symbolic to the Ramach Evarim, the 240 limbs Adam, a man has. Uvachein, each Kriyas HaTorah, each time you attend a Torah reading, a Torah session, it is a cure, or it is a refuah, it is a Yeshua for that specific limb that's for that day. So consciously or not knowing why, people have this draw that they come to Kriyas HaTorah, and Baruch Hashem, that gives them health and refuah for the Ramach Evarim. That's what it says in one of the Rishonim. Specifically this time, I'm going to talk about two Kriyas. Kriyas Torah on Tainus Esther, which we read Parshas Vayechal, we read the Vayechal Moshe, and the Kriyas HaMegillah, which we do on Purim, two halachas which are very similar. We find that in the Kriya of Tainus Sibur, there are pesukim that the Chazan pauses and the Kohol says out loud. And the same we find by the Megillah, that there are certain pesukim that the Chazan pauses and the community, the Sibur, says it out loud, and then the Chazan repeats it. Now, actually, the minig, how it should be done, it's brought in Sfarim different ways. Either you say it word after the Chazan, or the Chazan stops and waits for the community to say it, and then he says it. That it says in Sfarim different minhagim how it's done. But the question is asked, what is so special about these couple pesukim, which each individual says it out loud? And this question is brought in many places, so much so, even in today's Sfarim, I saw in one of the pesukim of today, he says that he's not sure. Obviously, that when it's done berabim, it's read, the Megillah is read in the shul, and there's 10 people, 100 people, obviously this has to be done, because that's mentioned in pesukim. How about, he says, I'm not sure if you're reading the Megillah one-on-one for 2 people, and you don't have roivam, he says he's not sure if it has to be done b'karl ram. But let's see what the Mefarshim say. Why are those certain pesukim in the Tainus Sibur read loud, and everybody in the community reads it out loud, and so too by the Megillah Esther, there are certain pesukim which the Kol says out loud, which you don't find by any other parsha. You don't find in the typical Kriyas HaTorah. So it's actually brought from the Machzer Vitri that he says that the reading out loud of the pesukim during the Megillah, Einoi Elo B'Shvil Tinoikus. That's all for the children. And we'll soon explain what it means. Avul Mikrois Shel Yud Gimel Midas. However, what you say out loud during the Kriya of Tainus, the Kriya of the Tainus, we say the Yud Gimel Midas Harachman, the 13 attributes of Rachmanis that Hashem has. Hashem Kel Rachum, and you say V'salachta Laveinenu. By a Tainus Sibur, it's minig kasherhu. That is a special minig, a good minig. Lefi shehem divrei chnunim v'rachmim. Because obviously you're trying to tap in and you're trying to show how the Eibishter is so compassionate, the Eibishter is so great. So that's a request. That's like a form of davening. But the pesukim that we say out loud by the Megillah, he says, Einai ela b'shvil tinoikos. It's a kinderspiel. He makes it sound like it's a kinderspiel. The Machzor Vitri says, Ela simchas tinoikos. It's to make them more happy, get them more excited. In the Shibbolei Haleket, he says it a little different. He says that you're making the kids happy. It's not just a typical sound going through the whole 20 minutes, 45 minutes, or whatever, reading the Megillah, because by giving these pauses and making a pasuk different, b'ra'osam shinui kazeh, when the children see a difference, sha'ilim mazeh, they ask, what's going on? Umitoich kach ataba, and because they're asking questions, you're able to respond. Oh, this is what happened. The Megillah is talking about the story of Haman and how the Eibishter saves us. So it's a lead. It's a lead-up question. It's a situation where we're getting the kids, the children, interested in the story of the Megillah by just not dragging out the same tune. L'man yishma'u u'man yilmedu liyira oisim kol hayomim, just to get the kids more interested. Or it's brought in the Haggais Maimonides, kidei sheyitnu daitam mitoich zeh lishmoya kriyas Megillah. Just a very practical answer. If you have the same tone and the same dragged out words for a little kid, he's not going to be tuned into the Megillah. So we make these pauses. But it's more to get the kids involved in the story and having a feeling for the Megillah. Which pesukim do we stop? Does the Chazan stop and each one says it out loud? So we know that's the number 4 happens to be, it looks like it's very symbolic. There is the Daled Kaises that we drink on Pesach for Kaises Shel Geula. Over here we also have 4 pesukim. 4 pesukim. Why these 4 pesukim? Because they are more, it's more, you see the potence of the, you see how the nest was very potent. That's what the Mefarshim say. However, I just want to make you aware, a very interesting thing. It's brought that the Nusach Taimon, the Svardim, some of the Nusach Taimon, they bring that there are actually 5 pesukim by them that the Chazan slows down, and the Chazan, word after word, the Kol says it with the Chazan. And the 5 pesukim are Ish Yehudi, Vayislu as Haman, Umordcha Yatza Melufnei HaMelech, La Yehudim Haisa Eira V'Simcha, and Ki Mordechai HaYehudi. They have one more pasuk. And the question was asked by one of the Svardish Gedolim of the generation, and why these 5 pesukim? So he says that these 5 pesukim are mechuvan, correspond chamisha chumshei Torah. Each one is symbolic to corresponds to one of the chumashim. And he goes like this: Ish Yehudi is saying the yichus. The pasuk of Ish Yehudi is saying the lineage of Mordechai, where he comes from. That is Parshas. That's Chumash Bereshis, where it talks about the creation of the world, how the Yidden became about, where we come from. The next one, the next pasuk is Vayislu es Haman, which talks about the falling of the Jewish enemy and what he thought, Haman thought, he's preparing, God forbid, to hurt Klal Yisrael, to hurt Mordechai, turns around and he gets his punishment. That's corresponding Sefer Shmos, where it talks about the Mitzrayim falling. The Egyptians, they did so bad to us, and they said, Kol habein hayilad hayayra tashlichu, and they got thrown into the Yam Suf. So the second pasuk corresponds Shmos. The third pasuk, Mordechai Yatza, and Mordechai came out with those fancy garments. That's corresponding the third Sefer, which is Sefer Vayikra, because over there it talks about the big dekuna and the koyanim, how they did the service. The pasuk of La Yehudim Haisa Eira V'Simcha corresponds Chumash Bamidbar, because in Chumash Bamidbar we talk about Eira V'Simcha, B'Haloischa Esaneiros. And the last, and B'Yoim Simchaschem U'V'Moyedechem. And the last pasuk, Mordechai Yehuda Mishnah Lamelech, which talks about how great Mordechai was and how he was respected and how he was accepted by Rav Echav, that is corresponding Chumash Devarim, which talks about Ashrei Shel Asher. And over there it says, Yehei Ratzoi Echav. So we see that there is a special Psuke Geula. We see that everybody, we do special effort that even the children should be involved, and Shetaka be La Yehudim Haisa Eira V'Simcha V'Sasim V'Kar Kain Tialanu.